Hi everyone, this is Cindy Create the Heart, and today I am sharing some projects using Mermaids for Mermay. So the Green Farm is having kind of a challenge, so I pulled out some Greening Farm Mermaid products. The first is this super adorable Mermaids Galore ginormous clear giant stamp set that I got not too long ago, but it has all of these mermaids, including some additional items and some sentiments. I'm also pulled out Trishelle, and I also pulled out a sentiment stamp set, which I don't think I'm using for these projects. I'm using a couple accessories from the Mermaid Kisses from Mama Elephant. I do have a die set there, but I think that one is being used for another mermaid project that I've got in the works. The other thing that I am using today is I am using a mermaid stencil, or a scale stencil, I guess, from My Favorite Things. And so I've had this one for a little bit. And there are so many different ways that you can use stencils, and I'm going to show you, kind of two, maybe three ways. I don't know. So there's many ways you could do it. One is you could stencil right over the stencil with your color. And the other is you can put color on your paper first, and then you could put your stencil over it, and then you could put a paste over it, or spray water. There's a lot of different things. So I'm actually going to be doing the method where I put color on first, and I'm using my Distress Oxide. I'm using Twisted Citron. I think I'm using Cracked Pistachio, and the Peacock Feathers are the three that I'm going to end up using for this particular card. And I'm not too worried about having it be well blended or whatever, because I'm going to actually do something over it. So I have a couple of options. One would be to put some glitter paste over it. The other is to spray water, and I think I'm going to spray water on this one because the two cards that I have that I'm going to put together, I use the other methods. So I'll talk about those in a second. So right now I've gone ahead and finished with my Twisted Citron, and I'm doing my Cracked Pistachio. I just love these colors in this particular kind of sea life. I also like it with the purple, which I'm going to do one later, I think, with purple. But for this card, these are the three colors that I'm using. And so now I've moved on to my, let's see, which one is this one? To my Peacock Feathers. And this is just a really pretty, teal. I'm using my Tailored Expressions glass mat because I can just wipe it right off. So I'm putting some color on there, and I might just do a little bit of extra kind of blending a little bit just to kind of make it blend together better. And so now I'm going to place my stencil right on top of my ink blended piece, and I'm going to find my water bottle, and I'm going to spray water on here. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some water, and then I'm going to use a paper towel to kind of dab that water off, and also dab some ink off from that mermaid stencil. And so I'm going to go ahead and dab that, and it's going to give me a subtle print. So what will happen is as it dries, more of that mermaid stencil is going to show through that blend. So it's a very subtle way of doing, of using your stencil, but I think it looks really pretty. So I'm actually going to set that aside because it needs to dry before I make a card out of it. It'll probably just go in my pile of many backgrounds. So this particular one, I went ahead and I stenciled those colors right through the stencil, and then I took my Tailored Expressions glitter paste, which I really love. It's iridescent, and it's almost empty actually. And I used a palette knife and I just stenciled through it. I kept that stencil on my paper. I stenciled right over the ink blended piece, and it gives a really nice shimmer to my background. So I've got some white card bases. I went ahead and I put some double-sided tape, and this double-sided tape is from Altenew. I bought it a while ago. And so I kind of like to put a stronger adhesive on the back when I have done any kind of a glitter paste treatment. I just find that that kind of bends the cardstock a little bit, and so it's nice to have a stronger adhesive to keep, you know, your paper flat. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and I kind of wanted to create sort of an underwater kind of, I don't know if it's underwater. I think I wanted a place, I know, for my girl to sit, my little mermaid. So I've got this kind of, it's like a hill, but I'm thinking of it as a sandy rock bank, I guess. And all I did was kind of use some, I think it's a speckled egg, but I've got some spray. So I just did a little bit of a spray on there. I didn't want anything too crazy because, you know, it's really not what the card's about. It's really about the mermaid. And so that mermaid, I colored her with my Copics, and I love how she came out. I used all these bright greens, and I just think she looks amazing. So, and then I used very liberally with my white gel pen. I did a lot of white inking on her, and I just think she came out fabulous. So she's all done in greens, and maybe sometime I'll do a Copic tutorial. I'm not really, I don't know how comfortable I feel doing it, but I would if someone wanted to see what colors I used, you know. If I got enough people to comment, maybe I would do that. But this is all some really fun greens in the Copic line. I know Olos are kind of the thing. I don't know how I feel about Olos. I have a few of them, and they just don't, maybe because I'm not used to it, they don't blend as well as my Copics. Maybe I'm just used to them. Even though I know they have a few colors that Copic doesn't have, so I might try those out at least. So here's my completed card, and I just think it's really fun. So the second card that I'm going to make, this card I blended first, just like I did in the sample, in the demo. I went ahead and I just ink blended, and then I put my stencil on it, and then I put the paste through it. And so the paste then created that mermaid image from the stencil, and it is a very subtle, but I like that. So it just has to dry. So it takes a little while to dry. So that's one of those things I might do in the evening, like I'm home with my kids and, you know, dinner's cooking. I might run in the back and, you know, throw some paste on there so that the next day it'll be perfectly dry. So for this one, I am creating, this one is an underwater scene. The other one is above ground, even though they both are very similar. I'm imagining that this one is actually under the sea, and this is like a sand bank under the sea, and there is treasure at the bottom that the mermaid's gonna go and try and get. So that's where I used the little clam shell, and in the mama elephant there's like a face in the clam shell. I put a pearl over that face, so it's like that's the treasure, right, to get the pearl. And I've got the little treasure box, or whatever it's called, and a little fishy there. And so I also colored her similarly to my other little green girl there, and so I'm creating this kind of underwater scene. And then my sentiment, I used the Twisted Citron to stamp it, and then I just used whatever ink was left on my brush to kind of ink blend a little bit of around that sentiment strip. And so these are all on foam. And I'm kind of just putting everything down. I really hope that you guys enjoyed making these cards with me today. And so it's Mermay, and I just love how they came out. I think the coloring was really fun for me to do. And thank you for watching.